More and more Filipinos have made their way out of Sudan as authorities take advantage of the extended ceasefire to evacuate the migrant workers. President Bongbong Marcos gets ready to leave for Washington for his meeting with U.S. President Joe Biden. Part of the agenda includes the Philippines asking the United States for help in maintaining peace and stability in the West Philippine Sea. And it's draw day for the Philippines. Groupings for the FIBA World Cup will be determined later today. We'll find out which teams will be up against Gilas Pilipinas. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know to jumpstart your weekend. I'm Riza Diaz. President Bongbong Marcos will be seeking the United States' help in maintaining peace in the West Philippine Sea. The president will be leaving for his 5-day visit to Washington tomorrow. Now, during his visit, Marcos Jr. will ask U.S. President Joe Biden for support in enhancing maritime cooperation, freedom of navigation, and development of natural resources in the disputed sea. Marcos Jr.'s U.S. trip comes 2 days after the largest Balikatan exercises. Now, aside from the West Philippine Sea, Marcos Jr. will also aim to talk about his economic agenda, including food security and infrastructure development. A magnitude 5.5 earthquake rocked Occidental Mindoro at midnight. FIVOX located the epicenter southeast of Looc, Occidental Mindoro. No damages are expected, but aftershocks are likely to occur. Intensity 5 was felt in Sablayan and Rizal in Occidental Mindoro, while Intensity 4 was felt in some areas in Oriental Mindoro. Intensities 3 to 1, meanwhile, were logged in several areas in NCR, Batangas, and Cavite. 4 Filipinos died while 4 others were injured in a factory fire in Taiwan on Tuesday. The details in this report by Jenny Dongan.
Nasunog po yung company namin.
4 overseas Filipino workers were killed in a fire at the Lianhua Foods Corporation in Changhua County in Taiwan Tuesday morning. They were among the 8 who perished after being trapped inside the factory during the fire. One of them is Renato Larua, 30 years old. In this photo sent to his wife Rosette, doctors tried to revive Larua, but he eventually died due to suffocation. Rosette narrated that her husband even messaged her at around 3:30 in the morning, telling her that he was on his way to work. That proved to be the last message he will ever send his wife. At 11 in the morning, Rosette received a call from Renato's agency informing her of the grim news.
Sabi po ng agency, confirm na nga daw po. Noong una, ma'am, di ako makapaniwala. Kasi kausap ko siya nung gabi. Magka-video call pa kami.
This is even more devastating as she is 8 months pregnant with her second child. Renato is survived by his wife, the baby, and their 10-year-old child.
Maya't maya siya tanong sa akin na, wala na ba talaga? Baka pwede pa. Baka kapag inuwi dito, ma-revive pa. Tapos dumating pa siya sa point na baka pag pinalitan ng puso, mabubuhay. Baka mabuhay yung papa ko. Tapos lagi sinasabi, I want my papa back. Sana hindi na lang siya umalis.
Rosette also said that this work contract abroad would have been Renato's last, as he promised that he will stay in the Philippines for good after his 3-year contract.
Inawat pa po siya ng panganay namin na, huwag ka na lang umalis pa, dito ka na lang. Sabi niya po, hindi, isa pa, isang ano na lang, alis na lang. Siyempre nga po, mas maganda kasi opportunity sa ibang bansa. Sabi ko, sige, isa na lang. Tapos ganun po yung nangyari. Huli na po pala.
Aside from Larua, the other casualties were Nancy Revilla, Aroma Miranda, and Maricris Fernando. Manila Economic and Cultural Office Chairman Sylvester Bello III said that the 3 of the victims died due to suffocation, while the other 1 died while being treated in the hospital. 4 other Pinoys also sustained minor physical injuries but are now in stable condition. Bello added that the government is in close coordination with their Taiwanese counterparts. He said the remains of the victims will be repatriated as soon as the paperwork is done.
From MECO po, meron financial assistance but more on OWA. Meron silang death benefit na 200,000 manggagaling sa OWA at meron din silang 20,000 na burial benefits. But more important than that, yung ating mga kababayan na namatay dahil sunog na ito, kung meron silang anak, ay they will be entitled to free education under the OWA.
For News of 5, Jenny Dongon, We Are One News.
Hundreds of Filipinos have evacuated from Sudan following the clash between the Sudanese army and a paramilitary group. At least 400 Filipinos have either crossed or are set to cross the border between Sudan and Egypt. 74 are headed to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, while 8 flew to Athens via a Greek military flight. Foreign Affairs Department Undersecretary Eduardo de Vega told 1PH that evacuation efforts will continue, especially with the extended ceasefire. He added that help will be extended to all Filipino citizens, regardless of whether they are documented or not.
Sa Sudan, meron pang 2 pang bus na nilikas kasama nagpas 100 na Filipino. Tuloy-tuloy yan. Kaya dumaan kayo ng OWA, kay may visa kayo or what, basta Filipino citizen, tutulungan namin kayo.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. President Bongbong Marcos met with FIBA officials ahead of tonight's 2023 FIBA World Cup draw. Marcos Jr. touted the Filipinos' love for basketball, promising that teams will see an enthusiastic and passionate crowd in each game here in the Philippines. Now, aside from FIBA officials, Marcos Jr. also received NBA legends Yao Ming and Dirk Nowitzki. Manila, along with Japan and Indonesia, will be hosting the World Cup from August to September. The draw will start at 7:30 p.m. at the Mo Arena tonight. The event will see performances by Sarah Geronimo, Billy Crawford, and film rapper Sawiti. Now, after the draw, group phase games will be held at the Araneta Coliseum and Mo Arena. Now, here are all the things you need to know about the FIBA World Cup draw ahead of tonight's event. Let's watch this.
32 teams have qualified to play in the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023. The hosts, Philippines and Japan. 5 teams from Africa, 7 teams from the Americas, 6 teams from Asia and Oceania, 12 teams from Europe. The 32 teams have been distributed into 8 pots of 4, based on the latest FIBA Men's World Ranking presented by Nike, updated after the last game of the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers. Philippines, as group and final phase host, is placed in Pot 1. All other teams are placed in their respective pot in order of ranking. The 8 pots will feed 8 groups of 4 teams each, Group A to Group H. Groups A and B will be playing in Manila, in the Smart Araneta Coliseum. Groups C and D will also play in Manila, in the Mall of Asia Arena. Groups E and F will play in Okinawa, Japan. Finally, Groups G and H will play in the new Indonesia Arena in Jakarta. To balance the quality of the groups across venues in the first and second round and facilitate geographical distribution, Pots 1, 3, 5, and 7 will feed Groups A, C, E, and G, while Pots 2, 4, 6, and 8 will feed Groups B, D, F, and H. The following principles will apply to the draw. Geographical distribution, with no more than 1 team from Africa, Americas, Asia, and Oceania in each group, and at least 1 but maximum 2 teams from Europe in each group. In Pot 1, Philippines will be allocated to Group A and will play in the Smart Araneta Coliseum. USA was selected as preferred team by the host Philippines and will be allocated to Group C in the Mall of Asia Arena. In Pot 2, Slovenia was selected as preferred team by the host Japan and will be allocated to Group F in Okinawa. In Pot 3, to balance geographical distribution as per the draw principles, European teams can't be drawn with Spain and Brazil can't be drawn with the USA. In Pot 4, Canada was selected as preferred team by the host Indonesia and will be allocated to Group H in Jakarta. In Pot 5, Dominican Republic can't be drawn with the Americas teams. New Zealand can't be drawn with Australia. Iran can't be drawn with other Asian teams. In Pot 6, Mexico can't be drawn with other Americas teams. Latvia and Georgia can't be drawn in a group with 2 European teams. In Pot 7, Group Phase host Japan will be allocated to Group E in Okinawa. Jordan can't be drawn with other Asian teams. In Pot 8, Lebanon can't be drawn with China. The 5 pre-allocated teams, Philippines, USA, Slovenia, Canada, and Japan, will be placed in their respective group at the start of the draw, prior to all other teams being drawn. Each time a team will be drawn, the draw software will display the available groups. The team will be allocated to the first available group in alphabetical order. After each team is drawn into a group, a competition number between 1 and 4 will also be drawn for that team. This will define the order of games in the respective group in the group phase. The draw is completed when all teams have been drawn in a group and given a group number, and the order of games for the group phase has been determined.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 9 in the morning as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.